What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. As always, we have Gary Judge from across the park. What's happening?
Andy, you alright? Looking a little bit better today than you were a couple of days ago.
I'm fucked, yeah. If my energy's low, I apologise. Glastonbury's took the best of me.
Swallowed you up, spat you out.
Yeah. I actually done a bit with Sadulo, and I'm an ambassador for them, and we done a Q&A with Carragher yesterday. He was fucked.
Yeah.
He was fucked. He took a sleeping tablet to get to like try and wear off.
You're going to say something else then?
to kind of to take off any kind of Glastonbury. Yeah, he turned up the office in Manchester and he said he went, I took a sleeping tablet last night to try and get a good night's sleep after Glasgow.
Bags under his eyes.
And he just woke up and he said he was knackered, but he was on form. We had a great hour with him. And something obviously we do as a podcast, but it was great to speak to him about not so much football, but just like, mindset.
Life, yeah.
Yeah, life, his growing up, his upbringing, how that kind of mould him to what he is today, and even life after football and the media and stuff, and how he's worked on that, and it was a good chat. But yeah, he was also fucked in Glasgow. But what it's meant though, mate, I was at Glasgow actually from Tuesday till Monday. So it was a full week away, not really on your phone. Don't really know what to talk about this week with you, lad.
I thought you were going to give us a nice little model piece then about it was great being off the grid and all that.
Oh yeah, well bloody hell, I could do that for an hour just talking about Glasgow, mate, and how amazing it is. But
we don't, the listeners don't want a Glasgow
no, they don't,
board, yeah, they've seen enough.
It is nice to like just to be off the grid though, yeah.
Yeah, well, on that note, I'm going camping with my daughter this weekend, so we're going away Friday night, Saturday night, coming back midday Sunday, and as my daughter's 9, I forgot my daughter's age then. Grow up so fast, don't they? She's 9 and she went to me last night, Dad, I'm taking my iPad. I said, no. And fair play, she come back and she went, what about your phone? I said, I'm leaving it in the car. I said, so we'll come.
Will you really though?
I swear down I will. We'll get there, I'll leave my phone in the car. I'll probably message Jen, take a picture of something of us before we go to, before we set up, make sure she's alright with my youngest. I'll leave it in the car. I'm looking forward to it.
There's a lot to be said for it, mate. Obviously you're in a field, so I had like a phone bank with me. I had like 3 charges on for like 5 days. So
I was saying that to Jen. I was like, there must be a lot of those charging banks knocking about there.
Well, there's like a Vodafone one there that you can go and use, but I just took my own and then just used my own phone like really sparingly, like put it on airplane mode. You don't get much signal anyway, so it was really nice just to be away and have a good time down there.
Good stuff, mate. It looked class. I mean, we were saying off air, I've never been to Glasgow, and Jen might not appreciate me saying that she won't mind. She's not one for camping at all. No. If we went and I went with her, I wouldn't have to go with her.
You can posh camp.
Yeah, you can do. You have to mish though, innit? It takes a while to get there from
I was doing 30,000 steps a day.
I was speaking to
Stumpy is not in a good place.
Proper aching. I spoke to a girl and I think she was saying they were 2.4 miles away from the pyramid stage. So with all you don't take a straight route all the time. I think she was averaging like 40,000 steps a day. I was done in and it was roasting, weren't it?
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's amazing.
Class anyway.
But coming back, it's been a bit of what has been going on in the world. I seen Ken Wright is still lingering around like a bad smell.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only consolation at the moment is that it's been explicitly said by the club that he's there as interim chairman now. That's a step down, if you like, and it's a move in the right direction. We said on previous shows the people who've been removed from the board, Denise Barrett-Baxendale, etc., and the previous CFO. That's a positive move. The big one that everyone wanted though was Ken Wright gone. The club said it was going to be 48 hours before they made the next announcement, and it was 5 days later that they said Ken Wright still. Just wondering what he's got on Mashiri now. He must have some stories on him or something to still be hanging in there. No, but in all seriousness, I think we're hoping now as a fan base that it is interim and it's like, listen, he's there because we've got to have a board almost, from a constitutional point of view, that he's there as interim chairman until we finalise the MSP investments, which I think is, again, all but done. I think that might be the last piece of the puzzle. Once that investment comes in, someone comes along with that, and then Ken Wright's removed then.
I've seen rumours that, I think that it was Everton that have come out and addressed rumours that were in the media saying that, the stadium won't have any delays or something. And it's
Colin Chong, who's the new CEO. He was also the stadium development manager or whatever, basically in charge of stadium developments before he was made CEO last week. And he's come out and said, look, 24-25 is not happening. So we're not going to move in this coming season. It will be completed by midway through that season. So the choice, which he said will be a choice that the fans will make almost by vote, is whether we move in halfway through the season or we delay it till the end of the season. I say the fans by vote, they'll be included in a consultation. He said, so to be clear, the stadium will be ready as planned for halfway through next season, but it's the decision of whether we do it halfway. I mean, personally, I wouldn't. I think what he says, and he you know, another proper Everton appointments, he's an Evertonian himself. He said that I think we should give the old lady a proper send-off and, you know, build up to it, bring all the old players back, make it proper nostalgic and all. And I agree with that. I mean, I've spoke to loads of ex-Everton players who said, like, you know, that they've been reaching out to the club and reaching out to mates or previous, you know, part of their network saying, look, I want a ticket for that last game. And I just think if you make it a gradual thing of going, right, like third to last game is going to be ex-staff, get everyone, you know, not just players, get people down, get families down and all that, people who deserve recognition, who've been part of our history at Goodison. Then second to last game, you do I don't know, and then the last game is just about the fans. I think that the stadium, the club, the fans, I think that's a nice touch to do at the end. I think it's just pushing it in halfway through. It's almost like, yeah, it's like moving house, isn't it? You could try and get it pushed through quickly, but the stress it causes on you and all that. And
I also think that maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but do you think there'd be an argument for fair play in a sense that if in one season,
I know what you mean, yeah.
Like, let's say, I don't know, after teams played at Goodison.
Depends which way you look at it though, doesn't it? Well, because
it might be worse off. You could go there and be shite. And
I think there's every chance because the atmosphere is going to be different, isn't it? It's going to be like a bit more like, I'd like to think not because of the way the stadium's been designed, but it's going to be a bit more corporate, and some teams are going to go in and go, wow, I want to perform here, this is a proper stadium. So it could work both ways. Yeah, you're probably right. I think I'm certain they will have to consult with the Premier League on it and say, is this allowed? I don't think the Premier League got much of a leg to stand on if we put that planning in for such a period of time. But I don't know.
The only other thing would be that if halfway through the season, let's say it gets to December, and that new stadium's sorted, good to go, and cost them money and not being used.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
It could be a point where they say, listen, we need to get in now after Christmas.
Yeah, the retailers will have something to say about it, won't they? Because they will partly finance the stadium in some way, shape or form, i.e. whatever, whatever businesses we've agreed deals with to put, retail outlets around the stadium, they'll want to guarantee as to when it's going to be open, won't they? But I'm sure there's a compromise. Yeah, it is interesting, but it was assuring, obviously, that our new CEO is forthright in that, and you'd expect that. I think it makes sense to have a CEO who's so on the ball with the stadium, because that's the key.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, it is over the next few years. It is for us, provided the football operations remain static. And I know you had probably a bit of a chat with one of the people who are going to be responsible for that. But provided we stay in the league, which is a priority, then the stadium is the next down of priorities, isn't it? Keeping that on track.
Yeah. So when I was at Glasgow, I'd done the old one leg card as normal and managed to get into hospitality with my good mate Kieran Malone, who's been on the show, and we're sitting there and we walk past and we just seeing Sean Dyche just having a proper big sit down scran in hospitality in Glasgow, and Kieran was like, we're gonna have to get a photo, and I said, I'm not going to interrupt him when he's eating a scran. I thought, so we sat outside, had a bevy, and as I'm sitting there I hear loads of Scouse voices and I look up and Joey Barton's sitting on the next table outside.
He used to play for Sean Dyche as well.
So me and Kieran are sitting there and Sean Dyche comes out the hospitality and kind of walks by us. Kieran stood up and went over and spoke to him. And when I knew that Sean wasn't mugging him off and actually speaking to him, I went over and started speaking to him. And just shook his hand. I said, hi Sean. I said, I'm a massive Red, but fair play for keeping the Blues up. You've done a great job. I said, can I tell you a quick story from a Red? And I told him the whole tattoo story of, fly the bird, now it says you'll never walk. And he just started laughing his head off. He said, mate, that's brilliant. He said, thanks for your service. He said, really appreciate the job that the armed forces have done and your sacrifice. Thank you very much, mate. He said, you're having a good time at Glasgow and all that. Chat to him for 5 minutes. What a nice fella.
No, I think that's one thing that most people say. He's a proper football and proper man. Yeah. He's respectful. He carries himself with integrity and everything.
And then when Joey Barton kind of seen us came over, and again Joey come over and said, right lads, all right. Said, Gaffer, I'm getting off. Sean says, right, see you later. And I said, Joey, before you go, can I just grab a photo? And then Sean grabbed the phone off me and said, yeah, mate, I'll take it. So Sean Dyche took the photo of us and Joey Barton, and then when Sean went, we ended up speaking to Joey Barton for 10 minutes. Again, really nice fella. Give us probably even longer of his time, 10 or 15 minutes, speaking to him, and it was it was brilliant. But yeah, joking aside, all the banter about Reds and Blues, he seems like a really nice fella, Sean Dyche.
It says a lot as well, doesn't it, when your ex-player from 6, 7, 8, he still calls you gaffer.
Oh yeah.
He said in his book, Joey Barton, that Sean Dyche was the best manager he ever worked under in terms of all round, and just generally his honesty and how forthright he was, and there's a lot to be said for that, isn't there, in the modern game. Just
quickly on that then, so we've seen Peter Crouch was there, Abby Clancy's seen Tyrone Mings there. He was with Laura Woods at various parts of the festival.
No comments.
And obviously Cara was there as well, but yeah. What's any news on the signings again? I've not heard anything much from Liverpool or Everton really.
The only one that's bubbling beneath the surface is that Al Hilal are flying to England or London on Monday to discuss a proposal to sign Tamari Gray off us. I think the initial bid was 20. This is mad. 25 million plus add-ons for Tamari Gray. Wow. Which is sound. Yeah. Snap your hands off of that.
We'll come on to that in a minute, all that Saudi stuff, because that's all a bit mad. But out of all the players you think they were going to come in for a big bid, but I didn't think it would be him.
Tamari Gray, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's a mad one.
No news on Pickford bailing yet?
No, not yet. Again, just rumours of bids and stuff, and nothing's happened. I think a couple of ones that are worth noting that are not signings but are relevant. Apparently, Andre Gomez is set to stay, which is a surprise. Been on loan obviously at Lille last year. I think the wages again are a sticking point. Another one who's left us but could be staying in the Premier League, Yerry Mina, potentially going to Fulham, which would be a blow. I'd be gutted with that, because particularly if they got games out of him consistently. Honestly, mate, whenever he played for us, he was a top defender. Just a bit like a, get a bit, not the level of Thiago, but a bit like Thiago, where he plays and you see the difference, but then you don't see him for 6 weeks, and it's like, what's the point? But I'd be gutted if Fulham got him, because just in case they managed to get 30 games out of him, I think he could make a real difference for them. And yet, I think we tried to stay away from, at the moment, letting go of too many players because of the fact that we don't know who's going to come in. I guess the one to mention, because of the last show that we had, is Tom Davies has now left the club.
Yeah, because he sounded
Well, he didn't. He was offered it, and everyone assumed he would sign it.
Okay.
He chose not to sign it.
So you're happy now?
Listen, I am. I think it's the right thing for the club. I think it's the right thing for him. I know from me contacts in football that he's been touted about everywhere over the last month, and no one's that interested because of the money.
So where's he gone now?
He hasn't got anywhere yet.
Really?
There's an Italian club that I think most interested, but again, I think it's a financial thing. And he was offered to a few La Liga clubs, and he was apparently after 2 million net a year, which I think puts him on about 50,000 euros or something like that. 55,000 euros, which very few La Liga clubs can afford. It's not the Premier League. I think Betis were the only ones that had more than one look at him, and they still said it's not. If we're going to buy a player from the Premier League, it needs to be more than that. It needs to be someone who's going to, really make a difference.
Well, Liverpool's signings and transfers in and out. When I was looking before, again, not really seeing much. That Lilian Thuram, I was getting spoken about before Glasgow.
Lilian Thuram's son.
Lilian Thuram's son.
Lilian Thuram like that.
He's
walking
60. His son.
He's playing in the 21s now, though, isn't he? In the Euros, so maybe
he was with Kanate the other day, wasn't he, or something? I don't know whether anything's getting said there. A transfer deal for Dominic Skalopsa from Leipzig.
Szolasai.
Yeah, he's a right back.
Szolasai.
Seeing that.
And then, what's called Fabio's gone out on loan, hasn't he?
He's going out on loan, yeah, but they're saying that they definitely don't want to sell him. He's just going out on loan. Leeds are interested in Nat Phillips. But
a few centre-backs have moved on as...
There's not been as much, considering it was a bit like this summer's going to be so important for Liverpool. We need loads of players in and out.
No, but it's
now July.
It's a domino effect though as well, isn't it? It's a bit of a a merry-go-round chains, isn't it?
Yeah.
One signing triggers another one. They get a bit of cash,
like,
they move
it's,
around.
It's the start of July.
I know. Everyone's going back to pre-season next week.
Yeah.
Next week, probably, most teams go
I just
back.
would have liked to have had a few more.
No one signs anyone.
I know.
Tottenham obviously just signed Maddison, which is an interesting one. I think that suggests that Kane's going.
Do you think?
The reason being, you can't play, I don't think, their system. Unless he's going to go to...
Yeah, but you don't know what their system's going to be now.
Alright, if he's going to play 4-2-3-1, does Kane play... If Kane plays up front in a 4-2-3-1, I don't think he's that player who runs in behind. He drops in as a 10, doesn't he? And Maddison's in that space. I just think that opens it up. I think if whatever system you're playing, if Maddison's in your team, you either need to play a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Can't play a 4-4-2 with Maddison in there, can you? So if they're playing that, they need a forward who's probably just going to be more inclined to run in behind, which is probably more likely to be Richarlison or something like that. So I don't think, look at, because Kane's going to go this year or next year, isn't he? So if he goes this year, they can control to a certain extent who he goes to, because they can reject bids, or they can say, listen, Harry, you're not going to a Premier League team, you can go to Bayern or whatever. So if, say he goes to Bayern for 80 million or whatever it is, he's not playing against Tottenham at least for a few years. He's not making any of the other teams stronger, and they've got money to play with. If he runs his contract down, he can go wherever he wants. They get no money for him, and he's likely to probably stay in the Premier League. So
interesting, this Kane thing. So yeah, but what you do though, Daniel Levy always comes across this shrewd businessman. What happens if he's kind of got in his head, listen, Kane is not going, and if he does go, I'm getting 100 mil. Then this...
he's got to do it this year then,
but
he's doing that.
But this new manager's come in. What's his name?
Postecoglou.
Ange.
Just call him Ange.
Ange, yeah.
Ange Postecoglou.
So Ange has come in and said, look, you know, if we get 70 for him, I'm happy with that. It's going to be an interesting battle of egos.
I don't think it is. I think he's going to be saying, I think he'll just be saying to Daniel Levy, I can work with that. You do what you need to do.
I think that's a massive conversation that's been had between Daniel Levy and Ange.
I don't think so. I don't think Postecoglou...
I think that will have been a massive stick.
No,
but, you know, what's going to go on with Kane? If I come here...
Of course it will, but I don't think it will have been this. I'm not becoming Tottenham manager if you're letting Harry Kane go. I don't think it'll be anything like that.
Yeah,
I think
you think it
been...
could have been the opposite, where I'll come in here, but we need to get rid of him and get money in?
Nah, not for me. What manager in the right mind is going to say, I want to sell Harry Kane?
Not so much I want to sell him, but again, looking at the kind of, look, this is my 3-4 year plan.
But what would it be? You imagine the conversation will have been, you know, what have I got to spend? And he's probably went, well, you've got 150 million to spend or 100 million to spend, or if we sell Harry Kane, you've got nearly 200 million to spend.
Do you know what could be a mad one, right? I've not seen anyone, this is just me thinking off the top of my head. Kane goes to Bayern, Mane goes to Spurs.
That's something I heard the other day, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's actually happened, but I think it was someone on TalkSport said, well, if he goes there, maybe there's a bit of a make-weight where Mane comes back. I think maybe a controversial statement. I think he's finished. I think physically, yeah. I watched them a few times last year, and I think Liverpool, as they've done a few times, have probably made a call and went, I think he's probably going over the hill a little bit.
But if you could get, say, 50 mil for Kane and then get Mane as well, 50 mil and Mane, I mean...
It depends what state he's in, what shape he's in, doesn't it?
Just got me thinking what you're saying there about Kane's not the type of striker who's going to run in. I think if you can get, again, comes back to
someone
what you
who
said
does
then,
do that.
But be an interesting one, yeah.
But I think, yeah, I just think there's a bit of a... They've almost got to make a call on Richarlison. For me, and I'm a massive fan of Richarlison, and the way he plays for Brazil.
Lads, I'm not even going to try and wind you up, but
the way he plays for Brazil, what's that?
Yeah, it baffles me.
What baffles you?
Like how much people think he's great.
I don't think he's great. I think he's a good striker. I just think I'm not saying build a team around him, but if you make it really simple for this is your role in the team, go and do that, whether it's off the left wing or as a centre forward. I think he's a good player. I think he works so hard off the ball.
This has to be a big season for him now, though.
Well, that's what I mean. I just think, if they were going to keep Harry Kane, I think he'd have gone by now. I think they'd have cut the losses and went, there's no point. He's got to play up front for me. He's got to play as a number 9, as he does for Brazil. I think for me, that's the only position he can play. So I think one or two things would have happened by now. He was either have gone because his agents probably had a conversation with, look, am I still going to be second fiddle here? If I am, I'm at risk of losing me place in the Brazil team. I'm playing crap and getting stick every week, which is fair enough. He's not scoring goals, but he's only ever played regularly when he's been in England, like for Watford or for us. He's never been second, and he's never even been that for Brazil. I think there was a short period where Firmino was first choice, but the minute he got that number 9 shirt,
he had
he
a
stayed
decent
in
World
there.
Cup as well, didn't he?
Oh, he was brilliant in the World Cup.
Scored a few good goals.
And so I think at the start of the summer or whatever, I think when Postecoglou's come in, spoke to whatever the latest footballing director is, he's probably said to him, look, are you going to play with Richarlison or not? Yeah, I'm going to play him. Sound. Well, that probably sanctions the Harry Kane move, and everything follows after that. And I think the Maddison, I think it's a really good signing for them if they're selling Harry Kane, because he fills that little number 10 gap that Harry Kane's leaving behind. I think he'll be perfect to get the best out of Son in terms of just getting him in behind frequently. Kulusevski had a poor season last season, but I rate him. I think he's a top player. So I think they could quietly, they're not going to be challenging anywhere near the league, but I think they could be a lot better next year if they can sell Kane. If they sell Kane and bring a Mane in, and they're almost rotating between Mane and Richarlison, and they bring Maddison in, and I think they need another centre back. I think they're stronger than they were last season.
I think I'm really interested to see how that Ange is going to be like in the Prem. You know, he's done really well in Celtic, and we spoke about a few shows back saying about his skills, his man management, how he treats people, and it reminded me actually, Carragher yesterday was talking about Gerard Houllier, was one of the greatest leaders he's had, and he said, you know, in the media people kind of thought Houllier was this almost like kind
teacher.
of French teacher, and he wouldn't really raise his voice, and he said, oh, he fucking did, like, do you know what I mean? He told a story once about Paul Ince, and he said Houllier made a lot of really big calls in those early days. Because, you know, you had Jamie Carragher, Michael Owen, two really young, I think 19, 20, 21-year-olds. You had Paul Ince, I think Jason McAteer, I think David James, the kind of big characters. And Houllier apparently had to go at someone, Paul Ince or something. Or Paul Ince had to go at something that wasn't going well in training. And I think Paul Ince thought that Gerard Houllier hasn't got a clue what's going on here at training. He doesn't take it, he doesn't know what's going on. And he said Gerard Houlier's memory, Carragher turned around, so Paul Ince said something, and Houllier said, the last 3 training sessions we've done in 5-a-side, you've been on the losing team each one. And Paul Ince was like, and then he roared into, he put, you know, tore into him or something, and then and Carragher and Michael Owen turned around and said, hey, we've got a manager here. So, and that Ange kind of strikes me something a bit like that. If everyone you listen to says his man management skills, his people skills are on point, if you can get that type of team going with those. Generally,
people like that, as you suggested with Houllier, pay attention to detail, and that's what kind of sets them apart. It's not always like the dead intimate details and analysis, because they got teams of people who do that, but it's working people out, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
And marking the cards early, and you almost plan that little thing. He's probably planning his head, I need to take him down a notch. I'm not going to do it in a way that creates major confrontation. I'm just going to point something out to him. And I'll make a point to the group, but also let him know that I'm not soft.
And it's knowing what makes people tick. I seen a great story from Kieran Trippier this week, and it said that he used to live next door to Diego Simeone when he was at Atletico Madrid. And he said the night before they were playing away, can't remember where they were playing, but they needed to win the league. He texted him at like 11 o'clock at night and said, like, come downstairs. And like he went and met him in his back garden or something.
That's weird.
Went and met him in like the back garden or something like that.
I probably took a little weapon with me. Simeone wanted to meet me in the garden at 11 o'clock.
But, you know, it's the night before the final game of the season, and Simeone says, you know, come and meet me. I think they have a coffee or something, or he shows him something. And he shows him his very first press conference. And Trippier says, I've come here because I want to work for Diego Simeone and I want to win the league.
Win trophies.
And he just looked at him and went,
there you go,
and then went back to bed.
It's class, that.
And Trippier was like, fuck,
yeah,
I'm going to win the league tomorrow.
Yeah,
and he went and done that. So I think managers like Houllier, Simeone and possibly Ange, I think when they've got that in the locker, you don't need, I think like Liverpool have proven in when they had the treble season, you don't need, you know, a team of absolute superstars. If you can get someone who can rally them all, they could do something, and I think that's probably where Spurs are right now. I'm not saying they're going to go and do a treble, but
no, I mean, could, you know, I don't know if I said to you a few weeks ago, but I looked at them last season and I thought the signings they made, I thought they were quite shrewd at the time. I thought Perisic, experience, you know what I mean, he's won trophies, he's a winner. I thought Basuma was a good signing. I thought Højbjerg was a good sign. I thought they bought some steel in there, and for whatever reason, you know, it didn't come together. And as you said, he hasn't the you know, a team is only some of its parts, isn't it? And I think there are some good parts in there, but it needs a few little bits. And I think he's the type of person who looks at a group of players and goes, yeah, I think if I add this to it and that to it, I can probably make this group as good as it can be. And I don't think that group is good enough by any way, shape or form to be challenging for the league. However, they could to a certain extent do a little bit of an Arsenal where they kind of surprise people, come out the blocks.
I think top 5, I mean, in a few weeks we do our predictions properly, but I think top 5 I could see them getting.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Some other ones, to just finish on the Kane and Bayern, I think it's just going to come down again to him saying, does he want to break Alan Shearer's record? Alan Shearer done a funny tweet saying that's
driving there, yeah.
I think it's just going to come down to, does he want to win?
How many goals is he away from it?
40, I think so.
That's 2 seasons, isn't it? I don't know. But the thing, let's be honest, you can see him coming back, can't you? That was the other thing I was going to say. If he goes to Bayern this year for 80 million, scores 5 or 6 in the Champions League, leading goal scorer in Germany, I can still see a bit of a merry-go-round where Haaland goes to Real Madrid, City bring Kane back to the Premier League. So there's no reason why he can't do both.
Because there's that mad stat, isn't there, where I think this is crazy, Ronaldo scored more goals after 30 than Rooney did in his whole career. So if Kane can prolong, I know he's had a few injuries, but if Kane can prolong his career, go to Bayern, win 2 German league titles, come back and do another 3 seasons in the Prem.
Yeah.
That's only 5 years left of his career.
It almost might be like a bit of a Premier League sabbatical, isn't it? Right, I'm just going to go and win some trophies because I need to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And I'll come back and I'll break the records in the Premier League then. So
Kane's on 213 and Shearer's on 260.
Yeah, he's 2 seasons away there, isn't he, at least?
Yeah.
That's still 2 25-goal seasons and you're still just about passing
That's it. He just needs 2 25-goal seasons and he breaks it.
Yeah, that's all.
What does he... Yeah. Interesting.
What would you do?
I mean, how old is Kane now?
30.
So
29.
He's got that in him then, has he, then, to do 5 more seasons? He's 29.
Yeah.
I'd go.
Yeah,
I'd go. Go and win.
I'd do exactly that. I'd probably do 2 seasons. Depending on how they do in the Champions League and who they bring in, you're thinking, I might have an outside chance to win the Champions League. Yeah. But then going there, winning 2 Bundesligas, a German Cup and the Champions League, you probably come back to Tottenham then and go, sounds, I'm happy now.
Well, he comes back at 32 and could probably walk into it at Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah. Probably Tottenham
again, yeah. And he only needs to do, 2 or 3 seasons. You look at Ronaldo coming back to United, and Ronaldo scored 20 at fucking 36 or something.
I guess the only danger is him going there. And then Bayern just being really stubborn and going, right, we want this daft money for him, and he never
I think we've made a great point for him there. Harry, if you're listening.
There you go, mate. Go and take the trophies.
We've done your advice, 2 years, 2 German.
You've ticked both your legacy little boxes there, haven't you? Trophies and personal.
He could quite easily go there and do 2 doubles.
Yeah, and probably get the golden boot in the Champions League.
Done. Go, Harry.
That's it. There you go.
I seen as well on the transfers then, you've got Havertz made his move to Arsenal.
I think it's a good signing for them, though. I like Havertz. He's not. I think the misunderstanding about him, he's not a number 9. He's like he's no Bergkamp, but he's that type of player. He links things up. I think with Jesus they've lacked that. They've obviously got Odegaard who plays in that kind of number 10 position, but he likes little patterns. Arteta like the little zigzags through the line, and I think he'll fill a little gap in there.
And I think a player like that, Chelsea was not the team to be.
No,
it's so much kind of shit going on behind the scenes. New manager, booking an influx of players. A player like him kind of needs, I think, routine as well. He's
a tidy footballer, Havertz, and technically he's really strong. It obviously gets a lot of stick for the chances he misses, but if you're playing him as number 9, I think he is going to miss a lot of chances. But if you have got other players, I mean, they've got the thing with Arsenal got now, they've got a lot of players who get goals, get goals as well. Odegaard gets you 10, 15 goals, Saka gets you 10, 15 goals, Martinelli gets you 10, 15 goals.
And
so,
on the flip side, what you just said, which I completely agree with, as a number 9, he'll frustrate you by not getting as many goals, but I think as a number 10, he'd surprise you by how many he will get.
And he'll probably he'll pop up in areas there where he's kind of getting a bit more time. He's scoring from 12, 15 yards out rather than missing chances from 5 yards out. I think he's a bit like, and I don't think he's quite that level. I think he's a bit like Firmino, I think. Where like you don't need the goals from him. What you do get from him though is obviously that work rate. He's always there for a pass. He's linking things up.
And it would be really interesting to see the players as well. Obviously, it looks like the Declan Rice deal has been accepted now. don't know how I feel about the fee. That's a lot of money.
I really like Declan Rice, you know, I really rate him.
I like him,
think,
but you know
I don't think there's a lot of
though?
players around like him. I almost think, and it might sound a bit dramatic, I almost think he's been the difference for England. I think he has.
But you look at Bellingham. Would you rather have Bellingham or Rice?
Oh no, Bellingham all day. But
And I just
Bellingham's
think,
an
though,
exceptional talent.
Yeah, but Roy Keane, I always think though, when you're listen, as fans, we'll all have our opinions. You've played the game at a decent level and stuff, and you know it far more than me. But like I say, we're all fans. We've all got our opinions. I always think though, when you hear someone like Roy Keane talk about midfielders, and he was quite, quite harsh on Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And I think, again, I'm like you. I think he's a great player.
You know what's the test now, isn't it?
But when you hear Roy Keane say, you know what, he's not doing enough, you think, okay, Roy Keane's saying that no one knows the game better than him, especially as a midfielder. You have to pay 105
The only thing
mil.
I'll say about that is David Moyes, and the reason I say that is David Moyes would have wanted Declan Rice to do a certain type of job. He doesn't have his midfielders bombing forward and taking the game by the scruff of the neck. He wants them to play simple. He wants to play percentage football, win the ball, move it on, no frills. And Declan Rice is, I think Declan Rice is clever enough to know that was right for that team.
So do you think you'll see a different Declan
I
Rice
think he'll. I'm not going to say take the league by storm, because there's better players in that league still that are head and shoulders above him, the De Bruyne's of the world, but I think he'll make a massive difference to Arsenal. I think he'll surprise a lot of people next season, because he'll get a lot more freedom under Arteta to step forward, and he'll expect that from him. I think he'll get more goals. I think he'll be a bigger influence. I think he'll be a huge leader for them. They've been lacking that since what's his name, the centre back,
Saliba.
Since Saliba got injured. And I'm not even sure he was the captain, but he was the presence there.
Yeah. Well, I've seen that as well.
Partey's not really filled that, has he?
He's probably looking at that thinking, I think he wanted to stay in London, and I think he's probably looking at that going, if I go to City, because City did put a last minute bid in, he's thinking, if I go there, do you know what I mean? Whereas if he goes to Arsenal, he could be captain in 2 years.
What do you think about did you hear Luco's theory? The ex-female footballer.
Yeah.
She was on TalkSport, and she said she'd been a director of football for in women's games. She went, I'm not talking about the same levels here. Obviously, we were talking thousands of pounds. These are talking hundreds of millions. But she said I'd often make a call to another director of football and go, do us a favour, throw a bid in there, because these are fucking about.
Really?
So she reckons that Arteta's picked the phone up to Guardiola and went, do us a favour, throw 80 million in and just let's get this done, because these are mucking about here. And for Guardiola, it's a bit of a win-win situation, because he's forcing Arsenal to spend more money than maybe they wanted to. And for his mate Arteta, he's getting the...
Yeah, but he's strengthening a rival. I know what you mean.
No, sorry, I'm getting this the wrong way around. It was...
No, you think West Ham have said to City throw a bid in?
Yeah, just get it done. There's a bit of an increment. No, sorry, let me retrace. So Arteta obviously doesn't spend the money, does he? It's the owner or the chairman or the director of football. He's getting a little bit annoyed by the whole increment bidding that Arsenal were doing. He's probably going to delay the process. He's not going to get his man in until maybe a few weeks into pre-season. He's went to Pep, do us a favour, throw a bid in there, get my owner to cough up the money. And the deal's done. Yeah. So it's not like
makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm not. That's what she was saying. Sorry, I've kind of misquoted it. Which I thought was you know what, it does go on. It's like mates in the game, isn't it?
Does go on.
It's like your boss was just being a bit of a minge bag, and you knew you can get one of your mates who works for another business to just do something, and then get the deal done. And you knew really 20 million wasn't anything to your owner. You'd be like, go ahead, I'll get that sorted. And
it's interesting that the moves Arsenal have made, because at the end of the last season, when they didn't win the league, and everyone's going, it's okay, Arsenal on the up, they'll be there next season. I thought Arsenal won't even finish top 3 next season. Whereas now I'm looking, those two signings alone, I'm thinking, actually, you know what, they still might be there or thereabouts. And
because they've strengthened, but they've also brought a different dimension to the play, I think, as well. Different players who...
And one of the reasons I thought that they wouldn't get in the top 2 was I thought Liverpool would be really knocking, but unless they start making more signings, it's not filling me with any great hope.
Just a quick one on that one, though. So, as a knock-on effect, who's West Ham go for? Would you take Phillips if you were West Ham? Take Calvin Phillips off City? It's probably an easy...
Yeah.
He's
one
that type of player, isn't he?
It's difficult because you've not seen anything of him really, have you, for the last year? Because he's just not got a look in at all. But for Leeds, from what I remember from Leeds, he was in the England team, wasn't he, because of his performances for Leeds, so...
He replaces the energy in the box-to-box type midfield. He's not going to get you maybe.
It probably sounds like a decent replacement.
He's just probably a technical downgrade. I don't think he's technically as good as like you've seen. Declan Rice scored a few peelers from outside the area. I think he's got that in his locker. I think Calvin Phillips is like that, but I think he replaces the leadership element, the work rate. So
will be interesting to see because obviously they got themselves in a right pickle in the league. I know they've done well in Europe, but they're going to have to...
got a bit of dough to spend now, though.
That's what I mean. So
they've got that and along with whatever the owner was going to give them.
Yeah, they need to spend that wisely. I thought it was a mad one as well, and this probably does lead us on to a few conspiracy theories to do with Saudi, but...
Never a show without your conspiracy theories, is it?
Do you know what? If I could kind of take back any podcast we've done, and I really like Dean, you know, he's became a mate, but when we done the podcast with Dean Garner, and to be fair to him, some of the stuff he said, by the way, kind of came through. So, you know, and this isn't on Dean, but what makes me laugh, right, is some people will come up to me in the street and they go, "Lad, you need to get Dean back on." Now, Dean's been on 2 or 3 times. Again, you know, he's a good mate. But people think that Dean is like the oracle and knows
Mr.
everything.
Meg.
Yeah.
No, he's obviously he's a very clever lad and he's done his research.
Yeah, he's a really bright lad. But there are some people who think that,
and that scares me. You know,
yeah.
That's how scary society is. Yeah. People are looking for someone to tell them.
Do you know, like you know the oracle of the Matrix? It's like you know Morpheus takes Neo to see that woman. Yeah. It's like Dean's that little woman who just knows everything, and I'm like, listen, he knows loads. He's
and again, I think it's interesting having conversations with that. But you'd like to think that most people will go, okay, I'll take that on board. I'll think about it.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, society's not like that. No. They want someone to tell them something, so they can then recite it.
And they don't have to go and do any research. Yeah. So off the amount of shit I got off that. You know, you're giving these conspiracy theorists a platform. I'm like, mate, I'm just speaking to people I want to speak to.
They're interesting, yeah. You've got an interesting opinion.
But so yeah, on the conspiracy then. Well, first of all, Kovacic has gone to Man City. So he's left Chelsea, gone there. But more towards the kind of conspiracy theory, you've got Newcastle owned by a Saudi, is it called the IPL? Is it something, the international? IFL
International Investment Fund, isn't it?
International Fund.
International Investment Fund.
Whatever that. Is, the Saudi one of them. That's who Newcastle are owned by. You've got this Saudi league, obviously, which is that, and the guy who owns Chelsea, as his other company, has just had them invest into them.
He's had a lot of Saudi interest in the past, though, and business interest.
So basically, the conspiracy is that the Saudis have got their fingers in Chelsea and Newcastle.
Did you see, just on that one before you go into a rabbit hole that might have been, did you see they've closed the loophole on Chelsea's 8-year contracts, which helped them to spread the money?
Yeah.
They've done it like yesterday, and they've said, we found the loophole, we've closed it. The maximum you can now spread a fee over is 5 years. They were doing it over 8 to 10 years, which means that financial fair play was
on the spreadsheets. It only doesn't look.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so it's something along the lines of Chelsea needed to balance the books, so they're selling these players to Saudi, but then Newcastle are then able to loan these players from these Saudi clubs.
No.
So rather than them kind of going to Chelsea,
if that happens, that's an absolute farce.
That's what I mean. It's not, but it's basically saying that
it can say Koulibaly and whoever else, and
because potentially end up in a Newcastle
turn up at Newcastle. That's a joke.
Yeah, and there was the Neves one. Neves might be going there or something, and then getting loaned. So it's a mad conspiracy, but
who's second to Mari Gray? Marco Silva taken to
it is like it is mad to think that there's just so much money and power in some of these big corporations.
I think that's just one to watch, isn't it? I mean, look, I think
it was one of those Instagram kind of reels of like, this happens to that, and I was like, wow.
Touch paper's been lit, hasn't it? And people have started getting a little bit giddy, but let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Look, there's no smoke without fire, and if all that starts going off, I think there'll be an instant investigation into it, because that's just bang on.
But yeah, Chelsea anyway have found a way, thankfully, because of Saudi Arabia, to just half the wage bill and get rid of all the shite that they didn't need. So well done to Todd Bowley's investors.
Just give Cater a new contract and got him out there as well.
But isn't it mad though that Ted Bowley's company gets invested by Saudi on one hand, I mean, listen, this is
It's not mad, mate. They're all in touch with each other. They're all in the same circle of...
I'll invest this money in that company, but then basically you give me a deal from that company to that company. It just so happens that company is a football team and you're giving us the best players or whatever.
It just happens all the time, though. Like,
it's
just football are so naive to it.
I know, well, it is naive.
Or they're not. It's just like, by the way, this is going to go on for a few months. We're not going to make... Well, we'll try and not make it bang on, but it's going to happen. You just turn the blind eye for 2 months, then close the loophole. It's all right, then we've done it.
Yeah. I wonder how many footballers, right, or managers, or just deals in football have went, look, mate, if you do this for me, I can only give you X amount on paper, but
all day.
I've got a holiday home there, right?
All day.
There's the keys. Yeah. It's yours whenever.
All day. It's happened since the dawn of time.
That's what I mean. It's mad, isn't it?
It's happened since the dawn of time.
I remember having an argument with my mate Robbo once, and he it was when Allardyce got the, that dodgy bung. I think was apparently his agent's fault or something.
The pint of wine.
Something like that, yeah.
Drinking a pint of wine.
And he was kind of saying, I don't agree with people, they're already millionaires, why are they doing that? And I was like, it's just the same as like a lorry driver, you deliver stuff for Amazon and I go, right, Gary, I've got a delivery there, what time am I due? You go, sorry Andy lad, it's 6 o'clock tonight. I go, lad, there's 50 quid there, just drop us off first. Yeah. It's the exact same thing, just on crazy levels.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And to them, and even in that example there, it makes sense. It's like, why would I not do it?
No.
Like, yeah, you go on holiday, and I went to Mexico about 5 years ago. We went to a really nice hotel, and when you booked, like, they had all like the different concerts on, so you had to go up to the reception, and you could either just sit in a normal seat, whatever, near the back, or you go to the reception and try and like book a little table. And then I was talking to someone by the pool, and he said, "Oh, you're going to this concert later?" And I went, "Yeah." And they were like, "Go speak to the bellboy, if you like, and say to him, right, get us a front. You give him like basically $50, and he'll get you a little bottle of champagne. You'll be sitting right at the front." So I went and booked my table, normally like one of the tables, which I had to pay whatever $50 for. Then I went and spoke to the bellboy and went, right, my number, give me a number is this. Make sure there's a bottle of champagne. It was like, just makes the world go round, doesn't it?
I done it in Glasgow, so the food for some of the Glasgow food stalls were absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
So I come down from the pyramid stage after watching Lizzo, who was a belter by the way, and I said, lad, I need some scrans, my mate James. And the queues were massive. I said, fuck that, I'm not waiting in that. Went right to the front of the queue. There was 2 women standing, like one going. I went, excuse me girls, I said, I'll buy you your food if I can just, if you can basically buy it for me, and I'll pay. So it cost me an extra like 12 quid to buy them 2 cheesy fries, but I got me burger. I was happy to pay the 12 quid.
Of course.
Than stand in a queue for 40 minutes.
But for I love stuff like that, because the amount of time you've saved there.
Yeah, it's worth the 12
It's a bit like, and this is a dead intro. I think this is a podcast on its own. Time is the most valuable commodity you've got. So me and Jen, my wife, about 5 years ago made the decision we were going to get a cleaner in once a week. A cleaner or a group of cleaners. We've now got an unbelievable, like, there's these 3 girls who come in and they sweep the house in 2 hours and it's done. And at the time we're like, we're on this wage, we're trying to stack up, like, how much it's going to cost us, can we afford it? I went, you know what? The amount of time it would take us to clean the whole house would probably be like a whole day. We're getting a day back, like every other week. That's well worth it. I'd pay a few £100 for that. So we pay these cleaners, I think it's like £30 every other week, and that's a day that we get back of not having to clean the whole house.
Cheaper than mine though, but yeah, I do the exact same. These 2 lads come in every other week, 40 quid.
That's it though, innit?
Blitz the house, done.
And people go, I've got from Tory's got to clean. I'm like, no, I'm trying to get time back. I don't have to get home and go, hold on, Arabella, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to hoover the stairs. It's just like, so back to your point about like skipping that whole queue, which probably save you 2 hours. Mate, you could go and chill for a bit, go and have a few drinks, probably met people you wouldn't have met. All that time.
Shout these 2 lovely women who were great.
All the time you've got back, I've got a lot of time for that.
On this point as well, we're going to be starting a Wednesday show again, back up me and Gary, and having those kind of
Sorry, I just took over the sportscast there about.
But it was a nice way to tell people that on the Wednesday we're going to get them kind of shows back, which is good. So make a few more mad transfers. Talking about Saudi Arabia, Lukaku's turned round and said no, he doesn't want to go there.
Fair play to him.
50 mil he was offered, and I think Chelsea were offered 50 mil. He said no. Whereas I don't think anyone's offered any money for him. But Jesse Lingard is bigging himself up, fucking saying,
Lings or whatever he is, divvy.
He was just sitting there.
Played about 30 games last season, didn't score a goal or create one.
Well,
finished.
He's bigging himself up, saying it's definitely going to be, on the horizon for me one day and stuff.
Him and Dele Alli can go there. We can all enjoy that.
Off the transfers, mate, I've seen Premier League clubs have, I think there was 17 Premier League clubs who have upped their season ticket prices despite the cost of living, which is...
Seen Fulham's.
We're just
the
talking
most expensive normal seat, $3,000. Fulham.
What?
Fulham, the most expensive normal seat, so not corporate. A seat,
you are messing.
Swear to God, that's the most expensive seat in the Premier League now. Fulham.
$3,000 for Fulham.
For Fulham. And obviously there's a bit of context where it's based. It's like right on the Thames. It's a very, very expensive area of London. However,
fucking...
and they've got a smaller capacity, so you'd argue, there are premium, those tickets, but $3,000.
That's disgusting.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought, and well, after and joking about the money being spent in football on wages and players and stuff and the dodgy deals going on, yet it's the normal working class man who's getting absolutely shafted.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I still don't get how at this stage we haven't followed the Bundesliga model of going, look, season tickets should be buttons because...
Well, there's so many bright minds in the game. You look at the likes of Gary Neville, I really like him. He even wrote a book on the kind of how football and stuff. You've got so many people in the media who've played the game. We've got so much interaction now right from the top to the bottom. So many great minds. You'd think someone had thought of a way, maybe similar to the German game,
about it,
and said, this is the way we can do it.
Because people spend more because they've got that money as well. They almost go out, like... At times, I'm not as bad with Everton because our season tickets aren't bad at all. I don't mind going in the ground sometimes and having a pint a little bit earlier because I'm like, you know what? The prices of the pints in the match versus the pub aren't that different anymore, and our season tickets aren't. But if I had a season ticket at Fulham and it was literally costing me an arm and a leg and I was really fighting to pay the money, I wouldn't want to spend a penny there. I wouldn't want to buy the kits for my kids. I wouldn't want. So you'd make it a day out.
Yeah.
And you get so much back from the fans in return. I just think
it's like that one. There was once a German chairman who said, why would I fleece the fans when, in transfer agreements it can go from,
exactly.
We've just spoke about
5 million, and that's the season.
It's gone from 80 million to 105 million like that.
That's the income for probably half of the season tickets.
And it's the fella who's working at, Jag, one of the factories in, whether it's Liverpool or a factory in London, whatever, who's now having to fuck. Yeah. It's fucking...
No, you're right. That was a great shout. That we could throw that season ticket money away in a heartbeat to an agent or a deal.
Yeah. And the last one on the footy, mate, it's been mostly footy today, as you can imagine. They're having a big thing, and I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know nowhere near enough about the kind of numbers and stuff like that, and I know nothing about racism, if I'm being completely honest.
They're two very dangerous areas between finance and racism.
I know, but they're going to have a big, massive push to get more black coaches involved in football.
It's been happening for years, that, mate.
I see Vincent Kompany will be the only black coach in the Premier League, and I'm just a bit like, listen, I'm a white...
BAME it is, not just black, it's BAME.
Is it,
Black, Asian, ethnic minorities.
I'm a kind of white working class lad, with not a racist bone in my body. Why I'm a little bit indifferent to this is because, one, I don't know the percentage of black players, black managers, or BAME, players, BAME managers, compared to white, compared to then what are they badged, compared to the percentages of this and that. And then also it's a bit like, how do you even... It's
opportunities and role models. So there's a lack of role models and a lack of opportunity. So what the rules are now, that you've got to interview a candidate. If they come forward and there's no one else in your pool, you've got to interview one, just so that you're being forced to open your minds to go, okay, that's a different face.
But I think that's even mad though, because again, and I know you're obviously like me, I find it mad that's like, has to be like someone saying, oh, you've got to at least, because it's just a bit like, listen, if he's fucking good, to get them in.
I know he is, but people just look past them. That's the point. They look past them because they think that's not something we've done before. That's not the way we do it. You know what I mean? And that's not I don't think it's a subconscious racist thought. It's just you have it. And again, this is me making the assumption of where these committees or boards are at. They've got a picture in the head of that was the manager you were after, and unfortunately, a bit like the whole Jesus thing. He doesn't look black at times, and that's the problem. And I mean that as a problem. That's the challenge for people in those minority groups, is that they just get looked past regardless. And listen, sometimes I know what you're saying.
I think Simon
you should
Jordan,
get a job on merit.
Simon Jordan and John Barnes done a really good podcast. It was a bit like, it was hard to listen to at times and stuff, but it was interesting.
John Barnes can be hard to listen to because he's so far that way.
Yeah,
that it's like
Simon Jordan done a decent enough job, but it was an interesting debate. And yeah, listen, hopefully there is more.
But the thing is, with Simon Jordan, he's in the minority of the way he approaches situations. He would look at a candidate on the merit, and he would challenge them, and so on and so forth. And if the person, white, black or otherwise, couldn't pass that challenge, then he moves on to the next person. But
and I just think Morgan Freeman once said it great. How do you solve it? You stop calling me a white man and you a black man. So when it becomes to football, I just think fucking stop speaking about it. If he's any good, get him in, give him a chance. If it doesn't work out, sack him. Whether you're white or black. But what do I know?
No, I'd look at it's a huge. That's a Wednesday show one definitely as well, because it's just a hugely divisive topic, and it'd be hard to not offend one side or the other by going too deep. But I think it's got to be a change there.
Mate, we'll just do a quick bit on golf, tennis, cricket, and boxing. So cricket. You're the expert in cricket.
Andy was asking me to explain why there's three wickets, and why the bail sits there on top of it.
I said to Gary off air, I said, everyone's talking about the cricket lately. There's the Ashes on. He said, oh yeah, the Ashes. I said, I know fuck all about it. You can run with that, but I mean,
I'm not. Listen, I'm not a cricket expert. I'm certainly not a massive cricket enthusiast. I don't like Test cricket. I enjoy 2020. I enjoy one dayers. But the Ashes is boss. I can remember, and it's not I remember FA Cup finals, but I can remember when I was in school and my mate used to live around the corner from the school, and we used to run home at lunchtime. We'd watch a bit of the Ashes coverage. Yeah,
I think it's because I don't know
the rules. It's out of season now. It's out of season, so obviously there wasn't footy on at the time. It was around this time of the year before we finished for the summer. I can remember watching a few Ashes series.
Is cricket a big Scouse thing?
No.
I don't
Lancashire cricket. Have you not been to it? Mate, go to a cricket match, even if you didn't watch the cricket, you'd have a boss day.
Yeah.
It's a good day out.
I might try and...
the Lancashire games are good. They're not far from me. They're really, really good watch.
I might try and get invested in it.
So I've been to a few one-dayers, Lancashire, but then the test matches, I don't watch a test match typically. If England are playing South Africa or Pakistan or India or whatever, I mean, that's the other thing. I spent a lot of time over in India, and it's religion there. You know what, mate, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Come out of my hotel, one of the first days I was in Mumbai coaching over there, driving to the pitch where we were coaching, and we went past this field. Bear in mind, Mumbai, the difference between the upper class and it's like that. There's no middle ground. Really? You either got money or you're on the streets. And this field was in the middle of a part of the city that was just full of homeless kids. And the field was covered with kids in whites. I mean, as white as that piece of paper. So they haven't got excuse me English, pot to piss in. They haven't got a home. They're struggling to eat, yet they've managed to get whites on. Yeah. And honestly, there must have been about 500 kids at 8 o'clock in the morning on this field. It was incredible to see.
Way out of poverty, isn't it?
And then I kind of ended up, because all the kids are talking about it, I ended up taking a bit more of an interest in it, trying to get my head around some, more of the modern players and whatever. But yeah, I do follow the Ashes, and listen, the Ashes, it's competitive. Didn't expect it to be this season, but this series, England were unfortunate, lost by a couple of wickets in the first test. The Aussies have started the second test quite well, but England's got half a chance. It's good little watch. What I'd say, if you're not into it, wait until the fourth day, and then switch it on when it's starting to get interesting and it starts to get tactical. You're throwing batsmen who are just going to try and web it. You're throwing bowlers who are trying to hit them in the head and all that. It's really there's a proper needle to it.
On tennis, mate, Wimbledon's just round the corner now. I've seen Wimbledon have relaxed the rules on the all-white clothing. So this was a big problem for a while for women, obviously, when they were on the period. And you know what? Something you don't even think about, do you? You talk about the stresses, pressures and anxieties of playing at Wimbledon, and then if you're a woman...
England women only changed the white footy shorts 2 years ago.
Yeah, didn't even
just before the Euros.
maybe ignorance of a man to not even think that's a thing. But yeah, so they've changed the rules, and a few tennis players have come out and like said we're grateful for it. Like,
About time.
Fucking hell.
We're grateful for it.
So yeah, that's a change. And on the lead up, Andy Murray played in one of the smaller tournaments, and I think he was beaten in the final. It might have been.
Got knocked out in the first round of Queens. I think he went there after it.
Was it? I think he got beat by like 6th in the world. So, but that was his last kind of run up. So he got looks like he's injury free at least.
Yeah, he's injury free. Sorry, Tim beat him, the Aussie. Who got to the final of Queens. I think in the second rounds of Queens or something, quite comfortably. But it looked like he was just trying to get, like, if it was footy terms, trying to get minutes in.
Yeah. Quick one on the golf. So after all the hoo-ha about Liv and them all coming together, it looks like the end game, Liv might not be as big of a player in the role as we once thought.
PGA have got more on the board, haven't they? And they've always got the final decision on everything that gets done.
So I think Rory McIlroy come out and was like, he felt like he'd been kind of thrown to the lambs a bit. What's that word? Sorry, thrown to the lions. A sacrificial lamb. Yeah. And I think he's feeling a little bit now more thrown to the lambs. He's getting licked. So just sitting in the field of the lambs. He's been thrown to the lions as a sacrificial lamb, but now it looks like he's probably not as bothered, because it looks like Liv might not have as much of a big of a part as maybe they once
more
thought.
Of like a corporate entity, aren't they? That have got more of a say. They've just like they've wedged themselves in, haven't they? And they've got a say, and they've been able to control a bit more of the money side of it, but not the competition.
Yeah.
As interesting. I reckon they're a lamb on a table of lions. Oh man.
And then I see it on the boxing, mate. We've got Joshua and was it
Dillian White?
It was on again, off again, on again, off again, all because of this rematch clause. Looked like it was off for a while. As of Thursday afternoon, it looked like it might be back on.
No offense, like Dillian White's got no.
I just think
shouldn't be a rematch clause.
I just think rematch clause in boxing fuck things up.
I do, because listen, the fans will demand a rematch if it's that close.
If it's close,
and the boxers will want a rematch. Who's like, there's probably good money in this. I'm not a fan of rematch clauses either.
I think the Liam Smith one, just because it's kind of recency bias, that was a perfect example. There was a rematch clause in it. Liam fucking bingos him. Yeah, it's done. Fucking move on.
But yeah, exactly. That's it.
So. Don't know why that, because there's so long delays. You're talking 6 months later, 9 months later.
But again, even the rematch clauses will just be scrapped if someone just gives them $100 grand to walk away or whatever. So
money again, isn't it?
It's nonsense.
But it looks like it might be back on though, which would be interesting. But again, even that fight itself doesn't kind of set the fire.
No. He beat him 7-8 years ago. Dillian White's done okay since, but whenever he's got to that level, he's just been knocked back down a notch. No, it doesn't excite me. Like,
mate, should we finish off on the on our Scouse powerhouse, Tasha Jonas?
Yeah, chance to become 2-weight world champion. She's putting all the belts on the line. I mean, she should be Candy Wyatt. Like, she's dropping down a weight class to fight, but the belts are on the line. I can't see her losing. I mean, what was interesting, I don't know if you've seen Joe Gallagher's comments probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Obviously, he's he's been a coach since she turned pro. He basically said, my advice to Natasha after this fight is to just retire. There's nothing more for her to do. She's got the Ring magazine belt, which is, undisputed, if you like. And the fights that, she's now coming up against younger, stronger, hungrier potentially, and that's probably harsh to say because the very few fighters who've shown the determination that she has in the past.
More desire than her, yeah.
But
I think it's like that Katie Taylor fight though. She wants to
right the wrongs, because it was a close one, and it was probably a harsh decision. However, you've got to be, it's got to be unanimous to take the champ off the perch. Yeah, fair enough. And you know what? I don't think that's a bad one to go out on, because there's no shame getting beat to Katie Taylor, but the last fight Taylor had, she didn't look the same fighter. So yeah, I understand that. I can understand thinking I don't want to be sitting here in 10-15 years time thinking I could have
had one more crack at the whip of it.
Yeah,
I mean, and also it's a bit like, as a boxer, do you want to go out as a winner with all the belts, or would it hurt if you
It's the legacy thing again, though, isn't it? Is that like, or like,
your last
depends
fight
your
to defeat?
mindset, doesn't it? If you're a growth mindset, you're like, I wanna every step of my career to have been stepping up and trying to push myself. Or if you're a fixed mindset, it's like, I've got the belts, I've got the win, I'll stick where I am and where I'm comfortable.
Very true, yeah. But
yeah.
no, best of luck to Tasha this weekend. Hopefully she can do that. Is Ver still got the offers on this week?
Yeah, it's still there. The code's still there. I haven't got one on today, so this was a Motor Bandidos t-shirt actually. So shout out to them, good lads. But yeah, their code's still on there. Muskie will put it in the description. Loads of sale items on there at the moment, and you get your sale, by the way, the sale stuff. You get the discount on top of the sale, so it's a bit of a cheat that. You end up getting some t-shirts for like buttons. So
get on it. I might actually get on that right
sorry
now.
I told them that.
Yeah, thanks again for listening. Sorry I was away last week because of Glasgow. Thankfully, we're back to business. Don't forget, Cross the Park podcast for all you Blues and any Reds who want to be nosy and bitter like me and listen to what they're moaning about.
We recorded a few this week, by the way. More like summer fillers. So it was actually one with, for any Blues who are watching, the guy who runs the Winslow. It's boss story behind the pub. You know, the pub that's right outside Goodison. It was there before the stadium was there.
I'd love to hear that, actually.
It was there before the stadium was there, and this fella tells the story of it. He was born in Ireland, but he took over the Winslow in 2012 when it closed, which is weird for a pub that close to the ground to close. But he's obviously done a lot of digging into the history. Tells the story. It's boss. That's interesting.
I'll have to get onto that.
Yeah.
So get on to Gary for that. Thanks for your support as always, and don't forget we will be starting these Wednesday shows where we debate kind of
lambs and lions.
Lambs and lions and getting 20 quid put in your... You know what? I will finish on a quick one actually on that story. At Glasgow, we watched Fatboy Slim. Then went
what a set, by the way.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Watched it again last night. Then we went into Stonebridge Bar, which anyone who's been to Glasgow knows, just behind the park stage. Massive queue to get in. Stood in for 5 minutes. Obviously played the one leg card. The nicest steward in the world, right? His name's Mark. And me mate Kieran said, excuse me mate, mate's only got one leg there, any chance we can... He said, how many of you is there? I said, that's the problem, there's 5 of us. He said, it's alright. He's like, Moses just parted the crowd for us, all 5 of us went through, stood us at the bar, I was like, this alright for you? Mate, thank you so much. 20 minutes later, one of us needs the loo. Aye Mark, as we were coming out, he opens the gates.
Poor Mark.
Anyway, does absolutely everything for him. So trying to give him 20 quid, I said, mate, you've looked after us so much in there for the past 2-3 hours. He said, Andy, I'm a volunteer, mate. He said, I do it for this. That's why I do it.
Oh, it's class, that.
Then,
what a human.
I get home Monday night or Tuesday. He finds me on LinkedIn.
He's cleaned your house.
He's found me on LinkedIn and said, oh, mate, after, because I had a good chat to him and stuff, told him my story and all that. And he asked to buy a book. So I said, oh, no, I'll just send you one. But he was just like, oh, mate, glad you and your friends had a great time. And so, yeah, goes a long way.
Boss that.
Right, have a boss weekend. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you next week.